In 1995, researchers at the University of Sydney gave people portions of 38 different foods and measured how full each one made them feel. They then ranked every food by its ability to suppress hunger. Number 1 was not a protein shake. It was not a grain. It was not a supplement. It was a boiled potato. At a satiety score of 323, more than 3 times the baseline, the humble potato outperformed every other food tested, including white bread, brown rice, eggs, beef, oranges, and cheese. More than 1 billion people depend on it. It has been cultivated for 8 to 10,000 years, and most of us think of it as a side dish. The potato was not born in the ground beneath a European farmhouse. It was born in the Andes at an elevation of approximately 3,800 meters above sea level, the altitude of Lake Titicaca on the border of modern Peru and Bolivia. Archaeological evidence places potato domestication between 8,000 and 10,000 years ago. Over that span, the Andean peoples developed thousands of distinct varieties, each adapted to a specific altitude, soil type, seasonal freeze, and culinary purpose. Purple ones, yellow ones, ones that only grow above a certain line on the mountain. This was not one plant, it was a library. Spanish conquistadors encountered the potato in the 1530s and brought it back to Europe. The reception was, as with most foods that arrived from the Americas, complicated. The potato belongs to the nightshade family. That was enough to make it suspect. A plant grown underground, absent from the Bible, related to species Europeans already feared. It was used as animal fodder. Frederick the Great of Prussia had to issue a royal decree ordering Prussian farmers to grow potatoes or face punishment. The Prussians eventually complied. By the early 19th century, the potato had become the primary caloric foundation for much of northern and central Europe, which made what happened in Ireland between 1845 and 1852 one of the most catastrophic single-crop failures in recorded history. Ireland's population in 1845 was roughly 8 million. A huge share of them lived almost entirely on a single potato variety, the Irish lumper. When Phytophthora infestans, a water mold, arrived and rotted the harvests of 1845, 46, 47, and 48, there was nothing to fall back on. By 1852, about 1 million people had died of starvation and disease. Another million had fled the country. Ireland's population dropped from 8 million to 6, a quarter of the nation, gone in 7 years. A single variety, a single pathogen, a quarter of a country. Strip away the catastrophe, though, and a stranger fact about this crop remains, one that has nothing to do with famine and everything to do with hunger. Strip away the history and the tragedy and look at what a potato is, nutritionally, and the satiety score starts to make sense. A 173-gram baked potato contains 161 calories. It also contains 926 milligrams of potassium, more than twice the potassium in a banana, which typically provides 422 milligrams. It contains 28 milligrams of vitamin C, which is 31% of the daily value, more than an orange of the same weight. It carries more than 4 grams of protein, with a complete amino acid profile, rare for a vegetable, nearly 4 grams of fiber, and almost no fat. That number from the opening, 323, came from Susanna Holt's 1995 Satiety Index at the University of Sydney. Her team gave people equal calorie portions of 38 foods, then tracked how full each one left them over the next 2 hours, and crucially measured how much they actually ate afterward. Not just what people said, but what they did. White bread was the baseline, set at 100. The potato topped every category, every protein, every grain, every fruit. And the strongest predictor of fullness wasn't a nutrient at all, it was sheer physical weight. A potato serving is heavier and bulkier than the same calories of almost anything else. More mass in the stomach, stronger fullness signals. Why does the potato satisfy so completely? 3 mechanisms work together. First, volume. A boiled potato is mostly water, and it swells in the stomach. Second, fiber, especially once the potato is cooled. Third, and most interesting, resistant starch. Boil a potato, then cool it overnight, and some of its digestible starch reassembles into resistant starch, a form the small intestine can't break down. It slips through to the colon and feeds the bacteria living there. The glycemic index falls from around 65 down into the low 50s, and the resistant starch climbs to roughly 5 to 8 grams per 100. Today, the potato is the third most important food crop on Earth, after only rice and wheat. The reason is buried in its biology. It needs no milling the way grains do. It keeps for months in a cool, dark cellar. And it yields more calories per acre than almost any other crop. It also grows where nothing else will. The Andean farmers who first domesticated it were working the Altiplano, a high plateau where the air is thin, the nights freeze, and virtually no other staple can survive. The potato could. That one trait is why it would eventually feed half of Europe. Europe did not want it. For 2 centuries, the potato sat in botanical gardens as a curiosity, a nightshade grown underground, absent from the Bible, suspect on every count. It took a war and a clever man to change that. Antoine Augustin Parmentier was a French pharmacist who had been a prisoner of war in Prussia, fed on little but potatoes, and noticed he stayed perfectly healthy. Back home, he set out to sell France on the tuber. When arguments failed, he tried theater. He had the king let him plant a field of potatoes outside Paris, posted soldiers to guard it conspicuously by day, then pulled the guards at night. The locals reasoned that anything guarded so closely must be worth stealing, so they stole the potatoes and planted them, which was the plan all along. Today, the International Potato Center in Lima safeguards the largest potato collection on Earth, more than 7,000 accessions of native, wild, and improved varieties. Purple, yellow, red, fingerling, waxy, starchy, each tuned to a particular altitude, soil, and frost. That seed bank holds 10,000 years of human selection, under conditions no laboratory has reproduced. The modern world eats barely a dozen of them. The rest survive only in that archive and in the highland gardens of farmers who never gave them up. And yet the biggest thing the potato lost was never its varieties. It was what happens the moment we drop it into hot oil. The boiled potato that scored 323 is not the potato most people actually eat. Deep fry that same potato and everything changes. Frying pushes the glycemic index up around 75 and multiplies the calories 2 to 5 times over as the flesh drinks up oil. At high heat, it also forms acrylamide, a compound you would rather not be manufacturing in your kitchen. Instant mashed flakes are worse still. Pre-cooked starch that hits the blood almost like pure glucose. The potato is not the problem. What we do to the potato is the problem. The potato's story is, in the end, a story about misattribution. Europeans blamed it for illness when the real culprit was a lack of science. The Irish staked everything on a single variety and paid for the monoculture with a catastrophe. Modern consumers blame the potato for being unhealthy when the processing is the variable that changed. The potato has been with us for 10,000 years. It has fed empires, survived famines, crossed oceans, and, boiled and cooled overnight, still outperforms every other food ever tested for the basic human need to feel satisfied after eating. It did not fail us. We forgot how to prepare it. The potato fed the body through famine and war. Next week, a fruit that worked on the body a different way. Not by calories, but by something closer to medicine. The olive has been cultivated for 8,000 years. In our own time, a trial of 7,447 people was cut short, not because it failed, but because it worked too well. Halfway through, the researchers decided it was no longer ethical to keep the control group on a diet without it. What were they seeing? A 30% drop in heart attacks and strokes. Episode 5: The Olive.